web that holds people back and constricts what they're capable of. Right? Sometimes we see this as signs of pain and harm in someone's life. Other times it can be destructive patterns or maybe unjust circumstances that they're having to go through, something that's not their fault. Other times a person's struggle can lie deep within, right, as they struggle to believe in their God-given worth or that things will ever get better. Hopelessness doesn't just affect these individual lives, but each and every one of us as well. Right? It has a compounding impact, really breaking down relationships, families, and even communities as well. And oftentimes, these teen years are defined by a search for identity, belonging, and purpose. And when teens don't have positive voices, positive role models speaking truth into their lives, speaking truth into the hard circumstances that they find themselves in, if hopelessness takes root during these critical years, it can affect the trajectory of the rest of their lives. Just in Pine County alone, over 25% of teens within the last couple years reported feeling sad or hopeless for almost every day for 2 weeks or more in a row, causing them to stop doing some of their usual activities, right? So oftentimes we may hear about this hopelessness, but we don't often know how does that look like in somebody's life. I ask them how they're doing, and they just say fine, right? When we talk about hopelessness, what we're talking about is anger-related issues. Maybe those are problems in school, right? Maybe it's isolation and avoidance or self-harm. It even can be substance abuse, even suicide, bullying and aggression, having an unsafe sex as well as criminal behavior as well. Teens are so uniquely impacted by this hopelessness. And yet hopelessness begins, we truly believe that hopelessness begins when teens believe what is true and what is possible, right? What a person believes at their core affects everything about them, how they behave, the decisions they make, the hope that they have for their future, right? How they see themselves and the world around them. And so many of our teens only hear destructive messages, not just at home, but at school, from their friends, even the community around them about who they are and what they're worth. So at TreeHouse, in everything we do, we strive to instill in each and every teen a God-given belief of their value and worth. Because when these God-given beliefs, rather than their circumstances, begin to define their lives, teens start to see themselves the way they were created to be and to live for all that is possible for their lives. There are 3 essential truths we want each and every teen to believe about themselves so that they can believe that they do have hope, right? The 3 essential truths we want each and every teen to believe is that I am lovable, capable, and worthwhile. Second, that I'm loved without strings and never alone. And third, that I have a future. Just take a look at the difference that we're currently making. Okay, 67% of our teens within the last couple months believe that they're lovable, capable, and worthwhile. Right? 75% begin to develop coping skills to navigate really difficult obstacles in their lives. 77% stand up against negative peer pressure, and 81% have goals for their future. Not to mention how 90% of our teens give support to their peers. As we know, no one ever moves directly from hopelessness straight to hope, right? It's a path, a journey. There's ups and downs, roadblocks, momentum, setbacks, right? For some, this is a lifelong journey, right? But no one has to walk this journey alone. No one has to go through it all by themselves. We stick with our teens through everything that they're going through, helping them to believe this truth about who they are, the purpose that God has given for their lives and what they're capable of, so that every teen can believe in their God-given potential. We believe that every teen needs at least one person in their life who is irrationally positive about them. Right? Now, obviously, no one person can ever meet every single need, right? That's why we introduce our teens to our loving God who will always be with them and accept them exactly as they are, right? Because at TreeHouse, no teen walks alone. Now, relationships are such a key part of our TreeHouse model because each and every teen who goes through our program has the opportunity to be paired with a trained, loving, and caring mentor, right? To establish those positive relationships, not just with their mentor, but with caring staff, peers, and adults as well, right? Our staff is so invested in the lives of our teens. We not only connect with our teens on our program nights on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but also through phone calls, text messages, Facebook messages, right? Even conversations over coffee, so that in all of this, we can become trusted voices of encouragement, wisdom, and care when our teens are really going through a difficult time. One of the things I really love most about TreeHouse is how much we create a safe space for belonging. When teens come to TreeHouse for the first time, so often it's the first time anyone has ever looked them in the eye and told them that they've been genuinely excited to see them all week, right? That's a part of the reason why at TreeHouse we provide rides for teens to and from our program. We provide a healthy dinner for them as well, so we can make sure that those practical physical needs are being met as well. Right, the sense of belonging that our teens have for TreeHouse is so powerful. And the more that they become a part of TreeHouse, the more you see their unique personalities come out, and they start to give voice to their untold stories. Now, our programs are built on proven models of effectiveness, but we're grace-based first and foremost. Right? We also hold to a consistent set of rules and expectations, and I can be the first one to tell you that our teens are always the first one to point out when someone else is not following the rules. Can't tell you how many times I've been called out for wearing my hat at TreeHouse. Probably every day. Right? Now, the cool part is that for our teens who are a part of TreeHouse, and we've reached out to over 70 teens and their families over this last year, they know that they'll be loved and accepted and supported no matter what, right? That we're not only telling our teens that they're loved without strings, but our goal is to show them practical ways that this truth is actually lived out in their lives. Now, when our teens begin to have this living hope at their core, right, they begin to experience transformation from the inside out, right? When hope grows, a teen's core beliefs begin to change, showing up in the way that they engage in relationships, start to plan for what they're going to do after high school, right? And even start to care for themselves and those around them. It's when these internal beliefs start to have an effect on what we see on the external that we can see the compounding effect that hope has. It's really, really important for us to look at these changes in a teen's life kind of like a triangle, right? In order to change the behaviors that we see at the top, in order to change the behaviors that we see on the outward side, we first need to start with the core beliefs that teens believe about themselves. What wrong beliefs do they have? After we identify what false beliefs that teens have, then we can identify how are those wrong beliefs impacting their feelings, right? And then lastly, how are their feelings directly impacting their behaviors that we see on the outside? And it's this that truly creates that life transformation, right? When we see this transforming work of the gospel. For each and every one of our teens, we have 8 goals we want to see each and every one of our teens live out, right? First is to form healthy relationships with peers and mentors, to build coping skills that navigate difficult obstacles in life, to move toward a stronger relationship with a loving God, to decrease negative mental health symptoms, discover their personal value and purpose, right? But also to graduate high school, engage in an educational or career path after high school, decrease negative mental health symptoms, and develop hope for their future. Because we truly believe when these internal beliefs and skills combined with the external expressions that can be seen in a teen's life, we will see the significant transformation take place in their lives and unleash that untold potential, not just for our teens, but for each and every one of us as well. Now, this is our community, and there is great news, but unfortunately there's also bad news as well. The great news is that our investments are really beginning to pay off. Seeing more and more teens get involved, seeing teens tell their friends about it. Now, unfortunately, the bad news is that there's still plenty of work to do, right? I want to share with you guys some of the great news about our community that we've seen over this last year. Our graduation rates are really, really strong. More than 93% of our teens graduate, right? Our pregnancy rates here in Minnesota are the 8th lowest in the nation. And on top of that, the sexually transmitted infection rates, yes, they're climbing, but in Pine County, they're actually 39% lower than the state average. Right? That our school district has a 13-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, which is better than the state average. Right? We have 95% of our students feel safe going to and from school. 94% feel safe at school. 89% are safe in their neighborhoods. 80% feel safe that they can talk to their mom. 72% of boys in Pine County, right, think that they can talk to their dad, compared to 64% of girls who think that they can. Now, as good of news as that is, unfortunately, there is some bad news too. There is a lot of poverty going on within Pine County. Our poverty rate's at 11.6%. Right? Math test scores. On average, they're 12% below, and reading proficiency is 11% below the state average. And sadly, we've seen some of the highest stats that we've ever seen as we continue to come out of COVID. 70% of students in Pine County experience physical abuse in their homes. 23% experience verbal abuse. 22% practice or seriously consider self-harm. Right? 16% seriously consider suicide. Okay? And on top of that, 11% of girls have been sexually assaulted. 30% of students on average have or have had a parent in prison. And if that wasn't bad enough, 59% of our students have been bullied or harassed at least once or more in the last month. I was recently reading an article from a report that the U.S. Census Bureau recently did that said how there is 18.5 million kids and teens that grow up without a father or father figure in their lives here in the United States. And unfortunately, that makes us the world leader of kids that grow up without a father or father figure in their lives. And I wish I could say that the news got better when we take a look at our area, our community, but sadly, Pine County and TreeHouse in particular doesn't get much better when we take a look at how we stack up against this fatherless epidemic that we've been seeing, right? There are 49% of our TreeHouse teens that grow up without a father or father figure in their lives. 49%. Man, that's almost half, right? And on top of that, kids that grow up without a father or father figure in their lives are they make up 85% of children and teens with behavioral issues, right? 70% of all adolescent patients in drug and alcohol treatment centers originate from homes without fathers. And as if that wasn't bad enough, kids without a father in the home are 5 times more likely to live in poverty compared to a kid in a 2-parent household, right? 9 times more likely to drop out of school and represent 90% of all homeless and runaway children right here in the United States. I believe you'd agree with me as the author of this article concludes, we can no longer afford to ignore the debilitating impact that fatherless homes have on our youth and on our country. And when I saw the hurt that our teens were dealing with, experiencing on an everyday basis, I chose to invest my time and my money and my life to show these teens and their families the love of Christ and to improve our community one step and one day at a time. So you may be asking yourself, how does this work? How do we practically every day go about ending hopelessness? Well, here at TreeHouse, we have a proven program that creates a safe place to build this life-transforming culture built on Christ here in a teen's life. We started by having our support group every Tuesday from 6 to 8 at the Sandstone Evangelical Free Church down in their basement. We create the safe place for teens to practice vulnerability, to share what feelings or emotions that they've been going through this last week, right? And receive support from peers and trained adults as well. Just this last week, we had a student in our support group tell us, these are the only people I will ever completely open up to. We gather a second time every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m., also in the basement of the Sandstone Free Church, where we connect the truths of God's Word with the struggles, the difficulties that our teens are going through, so that we can build these spiritual and personal life skills that our students need to develop into healthy young adults and bring an end to this hopelessness. In addition to that, we also offer mentoring. Every teen that joins TreeHouse has the opportunity to get connected with their own TreeHouse mentor who will meet with them every month, right? Who will show them the love of Christ and who will be that consistent presence in their lives. And our TreeHouse Next program does a great job of preparing not only our current junior high and high school students, but also in some cases those who have graduated to take that next step after high school, helping them apply to college, study for the ACTs, fill out job applications, right? It's been exciting to see so many of our teens get jobs over this last year, and we've had that opportunity to teach them how to fill out that job application, how to have a good job interview, and walk with them through that. We are investing here today to invest in this generation. And like their story, every investment not only benefits each and every life and kid here today, but also future generations as well. It's been really difficult over the last few months to see some of our teens tragically lose somebody very, very close to them, right? And it's in difficult times like these that we not only have the opportunity to live out the TreeHouse truths with our teens, right? To show each and every one of our teens that they are lovable, capable, and worthwhile, that they are loved without strings and never alone, that they do have a future. But we also get that unique opportunity to show them where these truths are found in God's Word. Right? We've been able to comfort them with the same comfort that we've been shown. that I was shown when I lost my mom to cancer at 15. Right? We've been able to comfort them with the same comfort we've been shown, just as the Apostle Paul tells us. And we couldn't do this without all of your faithful and ongoing prayers, encouragement, and financial support as well. We cannot thank each and every one of you enough for prayerfully considering how God wants you to continue to partner with us in ending hopelessness once and for all right here in Pine County. Now, I would like to introduce our community speaker. Andrew Kling has served first as the area director of TreeHouse, our first area director in 2013. Okay? Without all the hard work, dedication, and love for Christ that Andrew continues to show, we would not be here today. Andrew currently serves on our board, as well as the pastor of Memorial Drive Bible Fellowship. And want to give a warm TreeHouse welcome to Pastor Andrew Kling, who's going to be our community speaker.
What a meal tonight, right? I don't know about giving a speech on a full stomach. Whew. Could we have Blake and Jonesy? Where are you two? Could we just give them another round of where's Blake? There. Give them another round of applause. They are on the front line, and we talk about a lot of statistics and a lot of kind of big picture scenarios, but these two guys, along with the mentors and other people around them, the team that they've assembled, they are in each one of these scenarios and situations in real life situations. So I just wanted to kind of acknowledge that I've gotten to see them at work in the community and on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, and they bring an energy and a passion to these teens, and they're always giving high fives and remembering life situations, and they're just really invested. So thank you guys, first and foremost. Thank you guys and your staff, all of those other names that were read off. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I always get really excited when groups like this gather. Being a pastor, I'm super excited on Sundays when churches gather together to worship and to fellowship and just be together, right? There's just something about rubbing shoulders with the people in your community. And so this excites me. So being a previous area director, I know the sheer joy that the staff of TreeHouse feels when they see all of these people gather together on a day like today to make sure that TreeHouse can continue, to make sure that this community is investing in the lives of real teenagers with real difficulties, so to inspire hope. So thank you all is my next thank you. Thank you all for coming out tonight to support and to show your love. I have two simple goals today. Goal number one might sound a little weird, but goal number one is I'm going to teach you, I hope, to teach you a word that you've never heard of before. Okay? It's a challenge I've taken upon myself, and I think I'll succeed. Goal number two is to give you a framework, kind of to be the transition piece between Jonesy telling you on a large scale about what TreeHouse does, to kind of give you a framework to understand and really be able to listen to the two speakers that are coming next. Because keynote community speaker isn't why you guys came out tonight. I know that. That's okay. But to hear from Bree and from Michael is going to be amazing. And so my goal is to give you kind of a framework to understand their speeches. So goal number one. I actually have 4 big words for you, and I'm hoping the last one gets all of you, but I might catch some of you even on the first one. So here's your first big word for the night. Anthropomorphism. All of these words are types of metaphors, okay, all four of these. Anthropomorphism is a literary device that grants an animal human-like qualities, okay? So, for instance, in a Disney movie, when you have a mouse walking and talking, that's anthropomorphism, right? That's giving an animal human-like qualities, right? The next one is zoomorphism, and that's the opposite of anthropomorphism. Zoomorphism is when you give a human being animal-like qualities. For instance, messy eaters are normally compared to pigs. If someone stays up all hours of the night, we call them night owls, right? So that's zoomorphism, is kind of giving humans animal-like qualities, okay? The third one, I think a lot of you have heard of, and it can be argued that all of these words fall under this one, but the third one I want to share is personification. And personification is when you give an object human-like characteristics. For example, some of you, I'm sure, when you woke up this morning, it was to an alarm. And a lot of you can't have a sweet-sounding alarm, but you have to have like a foghorn type alarm because you need something that is literally going to yell at you in the morning to get out of bed, right? I don't know. But to say that my alarm yelled at me this morning, that's personification. That's giving your alarm a human characteristic, the quality of being able to yell, okay? So here's the fourth one. Cramomorphism. And cramomorphism is the inverse of personification, and that is when a human, instead of an object given human qualities, it's when you give a human object-like qualities. For example, if you're talking to someone, maybe your spouse, I don't know, but if you're talking to someone that is so unemotional and stoic, you tell them, talking to you is just like talking to a brick wall. Right? That's cramomorphism. That's using language or a metaphor to help understand what's going on here. You're giving me nothing. I may as well be talking to a brick wall. That's comparing a human to an object to help aid in understanding, right? So everybody gets the idea of cramomorphism. I present these words to you tonight because metaphors in general are aided to help in how a person is feeling, and you'll actually see cramomorphism in one of the coming speeches. And it's really cool because I wrote this speech before I heard that speech, and both of our speeches coincided quite well, and I think it was a God thing. But it's come together where you'll see cramomorphism come to life. And there's an example of it a little bit right over here, which I'll get to in a second. So, goal number 1 accomplished. Raise your hand if I didn't share a word you didn't know tonight. Did anyone know all 4 of those words? I succeeded. Okay. So hopefully I'll succeed in goal number 2 as well, giving you the framework to understand the 2 speeches that are coming. TreeHouse is built on a model of love, hope, and transformation. And transformation is a word that sees teenagers in a place of hopelessness, and through unconditional love, they stir up hope that leads to lives being transformed, right? And so it's TreeHouse's goal, if you haven't picked up on it, to end hopelessness. TreeHouse wants to recognize, but not just recognize, actually do something about the despair that they see in teenagers' lives. As I've said, Jonesy has given you some overall statistics, and those are important in painting the big picture. But sometimes those statistics can feel rather distant and hard to process. And so that is why each year at Shoot for Hope, we bring in real teens from our area that allow us to zoom in, right? It allows us to zoom in and see these statistics aren't just random numbers, but they represent real lives. real lives of people in our backyards, in our neighborhood. And so you have heard that, and I'm going to quiz you, TreeHouse's goal is to end hopelessness, okay? I want that to kind of ring, because that's our goal tonight. That's hopefully why you've come out to be a part of that process of ending hopelessness in our area. So tonight, you get to see that TreeHouse here, our TreeHouse, is accomplishing that very goal of meeting teens in feelings of hopelessness and helping them transform. TreeHouse Sandstone, TreeHouse in this area, meets teens from our communities with difficult life situations and gives them 3 things, as Jonesy alluded to. Number 1, proven teachings, training, right? Number 2 is loving relationships. And the third one is faith. So let's look at those first 2. From way back 9 years ago when TreeHouse, the first partner network started and all the people that were involved with that, the training was amazing. The people dedicated to understanding teenagers and developing systems and teachings that really get to the core of, as Jonesy said, what they're believing about themselves and how to steer them away from that tangled web of lies. It's amazing. Discussions that happen in grace-based atmospheres on the idea of peer pressure, the negative effects of drugs and alcohol, the value of education, dealing with anger, the effect of choosing good friends, setting goals and helping achieve them, dealing with grief and loss. All of these aren't just a model, but they're happening on a weekly basis in our community because of TreeHouse. One testimony that you're going to hear tonight is going to focus on how TreeHouse's teaching and those training and coping mechanisms has seen him through his high school years. The next thing is loving relationship. Support group is an amazing time where teens feel loved and valued enough to actually open up about the difficult situations in their lives. A lot of these teens have been taught to just shut up. And that's really a difficult thing to process. But that's the reality. At home, at school, in the community, a lot of places they've just learned to shut up, that nobody cares. But at TreeHouse, through that grace-based relationship, those loving, caring relationships, through Blake and Jonesy always saying, I'm so glad you're here tonight. These teens have a safe place to open up about the real deep struggles and hurts that they're going through. And so it's fun, even back when I was area director, to watch not just big transformations, but mini transformations. There's nights where teens come in beat up from a hard week, and they come on a Tuesday, and they're just downcast. And through the 2 hours, or however long TreeHouse is, there's a mini transformation, and they leave even that night with hope. That is why we are here. Those loving relationships to provide these teens. One testimony you're going to hear tonight focuses more so on those loving relationships and seeing them through difficult times in life. So now I'm going to ask you, as I draw to a close, I'm going to ask you to do something a little strange. I want you to imagine a piece of trash in a dumpster. Can you do that? It can be kind of anything, okay? Imagine a piece of trash in a dumpster, and imagine that piece of trash, let's practice personification. Imagine that piece of trash can talk. What would that piece of trash say? It stinks. Yeah. Well, that piece of trash is there because somebody threw it there, because someone made a valuation of that piece of trash and said, what about it? It's worthless. I don't need it anymore. For whatever reason, it's broken. I don't need it. It's garbage, right? So if that piece of trash could talk, it would say, I'm worthless. I have no purpose. I'm not good for anything. I'm not lovable. I'm not capable of anything anymore. I'm not worthwhile to anyone. I'm just trash. Are you with me there? That's what trash is. So now let me tell you a story about a piece of garbage. 8 years ago or 9 years ago, when TreeHouse first started, when I was the area director, we worked it out with Sandstone Free to use a little house just outside of Sandstone. And this house needed a lot of work. So we rented a dumpster and got a whole bunch of people together and got to work. One day, a man named Noel was walking past this dumpster full of trash, things that everyone said, worthless, trash, throw it away. And it was almost if the trash was calling out to him, am I really worthless? Is that really what I am? Noel collected these strips of trash that were on the side of the house as we were going to give it new siding. And what do you do with the old siding? It's old, it's good for nothing, it's garbage, throw it away. So he took this old siding that was just heaped up in the garbage, and he took of it as much of it home as he could because he knew that it wasn't trash. He knew that it was, he actually hadn't seen this before, but it was redwood siding. Super unique, not even cedar siding. At least that's what he told me. I'm not up on my wood identification. But he took it home, and through time, money, energy, that piece of trash in the dumpster was made into the beautiful canoe that you see behind it. So just like that, one person saying, I'm going to put some time and energy. I see something that's not worthless. That was sold at one of our very first TreeHouse events. It was valued at $2,500. Think of that, to go from trash to that kind of value. That is transformation. And that is a picture of the transformation that TreeHouse desires. That not only TreeHouse desires or is modeled to accomplish, but that is happening in the lives of real teenagers who feel like garbage, but through a little bit of training, through a community coming together to give so that people like Blake and Jonesy and their team can do what they're trained to do, transformation happens. TreeHouse is about this kind of transformation in the lives of real teens. So it's a powerful thing to call someone a piece of trash. And I want you to understand it's even more powerful thing to hear someone start to believe those lies and call themselves a piece of garbage. That's their valuation of themselves because they believe the lies. For those teens who feel despair, whose life situation has brought them to a place of hopelessness when they feel like trash, we say there is hope. You can say there is hope by hearing these stories today and acknowledge there are hurting teens and doing something about it. Jonesy's going to lead you in a couple different ways you can help, but before that, I want you to really listen to these stories. Listen to the hurt, and then watch the transformation as you see the effect that TreeHouse has had in their lives. Transformation, moving from hopelessness to knowing that they are lovable, capable, and worthwhile. That's not an easy road, but TreeHouse is there every step of the way for these teens. So before I introduce our first teen speaker, I want to acknowledge the third thing that I mentioned. TreeHouse is based on loving relationships and proven teachings. And these things introduce hope, but TreeHouse isn't just meant to introduce them to hope, but living hope. The third thing TreeHouse is designed to do is to help them introduce them to their maker, God, the God of heaven. And TreeHouse doesn't do this by jamming religion down anyone's throat, but instead it gently shows them that not only are there people who care about you, but that God cares. TreeHouse is made up of staff who have met this God of love and know that our love for one another comes from this great source, that God first loved us, as 1 John 4:19 says. This is love. We know love because he first loved us. And we know that because in this is love, not that we have loved God, but he first loved us and sent his son to die for our sins. So there are many ways to love your neighbor, but I'm hoping that tonight you see that a real way to show love in this community is through supporting TreeHouse, so that teens receive hope through loving relationships, great teaching, and not only that, but they can receive living hope through being introduced to their Maker. So tonight, we can take steps to end hopelessness in our community, but first, I would like to introduce you to Bree. Bree has been attending TreeHouse for 2 years, and Bree and I haven't known each other very long, but I felt a fairly instant connection to Bree. So we hit it off pretty good right away. And like I said, I think that God put our stories together in an amazing way as we want to tell the story of what TreeHouse has been doing these last years. So she's been coming to TreeHouse for about 2 years, and she's going into 11th grade, and she wants to tell her story.
Hi, my name is Brianna. I first heard about TreeHouse 2 years ago when my grandma brought me to one of their support groups on Tuesday. It was a really supportive place where I felt safe to finally share what was going on in my life and the emotions I was experiencing without getting in trouble or my words twisted around. I knew this was a place where I wanted to stay connected. Before, I'd been facing abuse at home from someone close to me, and when I would reach out for help, my abuser would always find out and get angry at me. She would turn the things I said around and make it seem like I was lying, so I didn't receive any of the support I needed. When I was in 6th grade, I vividly remember the night she hit me with a belt. The pain lasted the rest of the night and all the next day. I know I'd been hanging out with my friend, I was late for picking up my younger sister, and that I wasn't at school like I was supposed to be. But that was a bit excessive. She hit me not as a punishment, but because she was angry. I tore myself apart because I knew what she did was wrong and I blamed myself. I thought at the time that it was all my fault, that she did this because I didn't live up to her standards. I remember how mad she was when I called social services, even though I had only done it to protect myself. I was scared that she would hit me again. When she got more violent after that, I felt like I did the wrong thing, like I could have prevented so much hurt by just saying nothing. So I stopped trusting her and became mostly silent at home. Felt like I had to hide all of my emotions. I began to feel emotionally and physically empty. I remember the first time she said she hated me. When I heard her tell that to others, I really did believe that she did hate me. How could she say that to me? It made me feel so empty. I was willing to let others take advantage of me to feel loved, and some of that empty feeling was replaced with the thought and belief that I am garbage. When she called me ugly and fat, I remember taking it to heart, thinking, you're right, I am ugly and garbage. I lost all interest in taking care of myself and my grades. When she began to send me to bed with little to no food, the thought I am worthless began to join in with my beliefs that I was garbage and ugly. I was constantly grounded at home. I know I wasn't doing my chores well, my grades were bad, and I was practically mute there. But what else could I do when I felt like garbage? I was grounded and kept away from family and friends, so I had no one to talk to. So instead, I turned to dangerous places on the internet where people didn't know I was an ugly, hated, emptied, and abused piece of garbage. And when I did try to talk to someone safe in person, I remember talking to the school counselor in secret because my abuser didn't want me talking to adults in school. So a piece of my emptiness was now filled with bad secrets and lies. I remember every time my abuser wanted to talk, our talks meant she would blame me for all our stuff and constantly insult me. I was slapped so many times when we talked that I expected it when she started to yell. I remember not being able to sleep because I was repeating all the things I had been told by her. Still nightmares of her hitting me and losing control. In some of them, I'm almost killed, and others, she makes me bleed or sends me to the hospital with broken bones. These nightmares show how little I trusted her, how much fear I had, and the lack of safety I felt when I started coming to TreeHouse. So by the time I moved up to this area to live with my grandma and started coming to TreeHouse, I was empty and convinced I was ugly and worthless. When I first came to TreeHouse and really shared, I remember how the emptiness felt so stark. It was like I was nothing. And while getting support in support group is always really nice, that was especially true when I first began attending. Receiving support helps me feel welcomed, supported, and loved. When I first started coming to TreeHouse, I was in a really dark place, thinking about using drugs or running away to help ease the pain. That love and support group helped me move away from those unhealthy choices. While support group is one thing I love and cherish about TreeHouse, I also really love how TreeHouse is a family and we're always adding new people in. It's really fun to meet new people and get to see them around the community, especially after being kept away from so many people while I was grounded. Winter Blast in particular has been great because we were with all the other TreeHouse around the state, so it helped me meet new people in the cities, which has been nice since I've been moving back and forth between the cities and up here. Since I've been coming to TreeHouse, I've been feeling real feelings again. I've been getting better, though not fully. It's been taking a while. I remember the first time I began to feel strong. It felt amazing because I had been set empty for so long due to all the lies I had believed about myself and all the things my abuser had said to me. Now I know that I am lovable and worthwhile. I have a future. I am not alone, and that I am loved without strings. Believing in these TreeHouse truths helped me begin my healing process. Well, it did take me until a few months ago to fully believe these TreeHouse truths. Believing these truths instead of the lie I'd been told to break my spirit gave me strength and hope. Because of this strength and hope, I developed the motivation to do my work and do it in a manner that would help me reach toward my future goals. Without it, I wouldn't have been able to do as well as I did in school and make it on the honor roll for the last 3 quarters. If I had to explain TreeHouse to a friend, I'd say it's a welcoming place that accepts anyone, no matter who you are or what you've done. You are always loved without strings. Tuesdays are support group day where you can share about whatever is going on, while Thursdays are a day for lessons and games. We also have a week once a month where Tuesday is an opportunity to learn more about a staff member or a fellow student. And that following Thursday is a game day, where we just play a bunch of games and be able to get to know one another. These weeks are the best weeks to try TreeHouse, in my opinion, because they let you test the waters and get to know people in TreeHouse. Because of TreeHouse, I am in a much better and a happier place. My nightmares and panic attacks are less frequent. I think I am the best place I can be mentally and emotionally right now. Before TreeHouse, I was barely passing most of my classes, and there's pretty much no hope for me to go to college. Now, since I found the strength and motivation to get onto the honor roll, I hope to go to college for environmental science, ecology, or even go straight into welding after high school. So that's my story, and that's how TreeHouse saved me.
Thank you so much, Bree, for sharing your incredible story with us, and just the bravery that it always takes to be able to share in front of others what that impact and story has been for you. And it's my honor to invite up our next speaker. And this young man has been going to TreeHouse for just over 2 years now. And it's been amazing to see his growth during that time and his stepping into leadership. So he's been on the student leadership team with us lately. But it's not only in that, but in the way he consistently cares for and supports the other people around him. And I'm really excited for him to be able to share more of his story with you here. And so I'm going to invite up Michael to come share a little bit about what TreeHouse has been for you.
Hey, my name is Michael. You may have seen me here before. I spoke at Shoot for Hope a couple of years ago, early on in my time with TreeHouse. A lot has happened since then, and TreeHouse has continued to have an impact on my life. I've been going to TreeHouse for a little over 2 years. I first started going after Blake came to my lunch table and told me about it. He gave me a pamphlet about what it would be like. The thing that really made me want to go was that all of my friends at the table were telling me it would be a really good place to be. I was dealing with depression for the first time, and I was feeling it. It was amplifying my anxiety and making me distant to the people around me. At this point, my anxiety was at the worst it's ever been. My dad was also still living with us, and his abuse was getting worse. He was drinking more and getting more angry and violent. This used to happen once or twice a week, but at this rate, it was happening nearly every day, to the point where I didn't feel safe at home, and I didn't want to go home. So before TreeHouse, I was dealing with lots of anxiety, and I was unsure of how to cope with it. While I'm excited to share with you the ways that TreeHouse has helped me grow and cope with these difficulties, it hasn't been a straight path towards healing. For a couple of months after starting TreeHouse, these things continued to happen. I never really felt safe at home until my dad moved away. My depression has been on and off since I started coming to TreeHouse. There are periods where it will be mild, and other times where it is far worse. Sometimes it feels like my depression is gone, like I'm a normal person and I can be happy, while other times it feels like it seeps into everything in my life. Oh, I had them in the wrong order, sorry. When I'm experiencing heavy periods of depression, it makes it difficult to be motivated, and I've even struggled with self-harm and suicidal thoughts at times. There was one point where my lack of motivation was so intense that I completely failed school. On top of this, I lost my mom a couple months ago, and it made everything so much harder. Even when my depression has been at its worst, though, I've continued to enjoy coming to TreeHouse. One of the things I've liked most at TreeHouse is mentoring. I really enjoy having time to talk with my mentor about the things that have been going on in my life, and to know that whatever I share is kept confidential. I also really enjoy the celebrations I do for the teens who make the honor roll. I like these celebrations because we're able to play fun games, and it feels like the work I've been putting in has been recognized and appreciated. My favorite activity, though, is our Christmas party. It's something I look forward to year-round, and it's cool to see so many different people who are involved with TreeHouse at the same place. Overall, if a friend asked me about TreeHouse, I would tell them it's a fun and caring environment where people come together, support each other, play games, and learn valuable lessons about life. When I first started coming, they helped me develop new coping skills for stress, anxiety, and depression. More recently, they have been helping me identify my triggers and avoid them altogether. I used to not even be aware of the concept of triggers until TreeHouse taught me that they are real. One trigger I've recognized in my life is change. Whenever I experience any amount of change, even just a little, I start to feel anxious and stressed. Any kind of change can cause me anxiety, but changes that are clearly for the worse will trigger my depression as well. Though I can't avoid change, throughout this past year, I've learned how to prepare myself for and better deal with the changes in my life. Before, when big changes would come along, I wouldn't deal with them or would just shut down. For example, there was one time last year when I was starting to improve my grades and beginning to get back on track with my schooling. But when we went back to distance, I completely gave up. However, this year, when my favorite teacher had to change positions, I didn't give up, and instead, I worked even harder to turn my work in. Through it all, TreeHouse has helped motivate me to excel in school instead of settling for the bare minimum. While they weren't enough on their own, the honor roll celebrations helped me begin to care and to start putting in the effort to do my best. This past year, the motivation from these celebrations helped me make the A honor roll all 4 quarters. While I still struggle with finding hope for my future, I don't know how I would have gotten this far without TreeHouse. Not only have they helped me navigate through the present, but they've opened new doors for me to improve on my writing, which is something I want to pursue in the future. Most importantly, because of TreeHouse, I am able to get the support I need, and I am learning more about how to cope with my anxiety and depression every day.
Michael and Bree, want to thank you so very much for sharing. It's been incredible to see the transformation that both of you are continuing to go through on a day in and day out, even week and month and year to year basis. Here, speaking for myself and all of the staff, volunteers, and mentors here at TreeHouse, it has been an honor to hear both of your stories and to hear. So as we draw to a close here tonight, just want to first tell you about an exciting opportunity that TreeHouse has to get nearly a $500 donation from Town and Country Insurance. If you simply go to the Town and Country Insurance Facebook page and like our TreeHouse logo, we will have the opportunity to get that $500 gift. And also for anyone who might be tracking our giving statistics on our event page that doesn't accurately reflect all that's come in for right now. So you guys have just had this opportunity to hear the impact that TreeHouse has had from Andrew and Bree and Michael. And these are just 3 of the voices that would remind us of the need for TreeHouse right here in Pine County. But this need also comes with financial costs as well. We are not ashamed to ask everyone right now to boldly take out your phones and text Sandstone to 91999. Okay, to take out your phones right now and text Sandstone to 91999 and tell TreeHouse that you want to see them continue to serve more teens in our area, just like Michael and Bree. That you want to partner with TreeHouse by providing a financial gift here tonight. You can also use these commitment cards here at your table and give your financial gift at our registration table on your way out. I have some incredible news that if you act right now, we have a donor who will match each and every financial donation that comes in tonight up to $7,500 if you simply just take out your phone and text Sandstone to 91999. Financial gifts are such a vital part to this ministry, and if you'd like to see TreeHouse continue to help students just like Michael and Bree, we need to hear from you financially here tonight. Now, maybe you're here tonight and can't provide a financial gift. Maybe you want to learn more about what it means to serve as a mentor or a volunteer. You have this opportunity to serve in this powerful ministry that's causing this life transformation to take place. This is your opportunity to say, I want to be a part of this team, to see this life transformation take place in the lives of each and every one of these teens. We need partners too. We have student needs that go unmet each and every week. We need male and female drivers to drive our students to and from our programs, as well as mentors and people who will prepare meals for us for our meals every Tuesday and Thursday. You can sign up tonight and tell TreeHouse that you want them to continue to end hopelessness in our community. If you're here tonight and you would like to be a sponsor for our Shoot for Hope next year, if you have something that you would like to donate to our live or our silent auction for our Shoot for Hope next year, you can indicate that on this commitment card as well, and we will absolutely follow up with you. So please join me in taking out your phones and texting Sandstone to 91999, or just fill out this card right now, and we will pause for 4 minutes to give you an opportunity to complete this card and make these donations that are so critical to TreeHouse being able to continue. Can't emphasize enough that if you give right now, we do have a donor who will give a matching donation up to $7,500. If you have been moved by hearing the impact that TreeHouse continues to have on teens in our area, just like Michael and Bree, please join with us, partner with us throughout this year, and have your financial impact doubled by this generous gift here tonight. This opportunity isn't simply for gifts tonight, but if you would like to join with us as a monthly partner, you have the opportunity to do that as well. So I ask you again to join with me in taking out your phones or filling out this commitment card and texting Sandstone to 91999. We'll pause for 4 minutes, and then our volunteers and people on our board will be around to collect these cards here. Oh, yeah, go for it. All right, everybody. Hey, I apologize for any confusion that's happened with that text to give link. I'm not quite sure what happened there. You can either register online on our event page itself, which is on our website, TreeHouse Sandstone on Facebook and on our website as well. You can also give by this card, give a financial gift at our registration table that will not have the 3.5% fee attached to it like the text to give option does. So we can't begin to describe how many lives are being transformed here, and to thank each of you so much for your continued support for TreeHouse Sandstone. We're going to start our live auction here in 4 minutes.